All right, it is 1:30, so we'll go ahead and get started. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our information buffet today on summer meals. We will be recording this webinar and we'll get it posted on our YouTube channel soon after today. So please put any of your questions that come up in the Q&A box. We'll hopefully have time at the end to go over them, but if not, just please send any questions to me over email. So today we're going to have a general overview of the summer meal options for schools, the eligibility to operate each program, the types of meal service, such as congregate and non-congregate, and application requirements for all the programs. So you will see the Sun Meals logo throughout the presentation, and Sun Meals are the summer nutrition programs for kids. USDA Sun programs offer flexible, convenient options for kids to get the nutrition they need in the summer when school meals are not available. Sun meals are really the overarching term for summer meals, and the next slide will explain the different summer meal options laid out. So again, here are the options schools have for serving summer meals. Sun Meals, also known as the Summer Food Service Program, or SFSP, offers free meals and snacks at schools, parks, community centers, or other eligible locations. SFSP is ideal if you are sponsoring an enrichment, recreational, or activity program over the summer. Sun Meals to Go, also referred to as non-congregate meals offered through SFSP, allows certain rural areas to distribute nutritious meals to kids outside of the typically required group or congregate setting. SSO, or the Seamless Summer option, offers school food authorities operating the NSLP or SPP a streamlined option for providing summer meals by continuing to follow several of the same operational requirements, such as the NSLP meal pattern and procedures for filing claims and determining student eligibility. The National School Lunch Program and School Breakfast Program are available for any school that is hosting an academic summer school. Schools serve meals only to enrolled students and follow the same rules and claiming procedures as a regular school year for free, reduced price, and paid meals. So now we'll go over some questions to consider when choosing the right summer meal program for your school or your district. So what programs are my school or my district eligible to operate? First, we'll talk about the Extended School Year, or ESY, National School Lunch Program. To qualify to operate ESY, the school must be operating an academic summer school program. Programs are considered an academic summer school if any students are required to attend the program in order to advance to the next grade or otherwise make up credits. If the program is a voluntary summer enrichment program or camp, it is not considered an academic summer school. As always, if you are unsure if your site qualifies to run ESY, please contact our office. So now we'll talk about how a school can be eligible to operate SFSP or SSO. Both programs have similar, if not identical, ways to qualify to operate, but have different program regulations and specific requirements. So an eligible site are sites that qualify to operate either SFSP or SSO. And there are multiple types of sites that may provide SFSP or SSO meals. Requirements for determining and documenting eligibility are different depending on the site type that's picked. So the different sites are open sites, restricted open sites, closed enrolled, day or residential camps, migrant sites, and conditional non-congregate sites. An open site must be located in a school attendance area where 50% or more of the children residing in the area are eligible for free or reduced price meals. A site can also be eligible if it's within a census tract that qualifies. During the application process for either SFSP or SSO, the site must provide backup documentation of their eligibility. I will go over how and where the district can get this information for the prospective site in a few slides. An open site, at an open site, each child may receive up to 2 reimbursable meals each day. Restricted open sites are meal sites in low-income areas that may limit attendance to address space, security, safety, or control issues. A restricted open sites provides meals in an area in which poor economic conditions exist to children on a first-come, first-served basis. However, the sponsor may limit attendance to address concerns about space, security, safety, or control. The sponsor must make the community aware that the meal service site is open, but that attendance may be limited. Each child in attendance may receive up to 2 reimbursable meals each day. And again, backup documentation must be provided to our office to show how the site is eligible. Restricted open sites will be addressed on a case-by-case basis given the circumstances at the site. And again, if you're wondering if your site is eligible to operate this type of site, always reach out to our office and we can talk through it with you guys. Closed enrolled sites are only open to enrolled children, as opposed to the community at large. Sponsors of closed enrolled sites must establish that at least 50% of the children enrolled at the site are eligible for free or reduced price school meals or be in an area eligible location. Meals are served to all students in attendance, and closed enrolled sites may be approved to serve up to 2 reimbursable meals to each child. A non-residential day camp is a meal site that offers a regularly scheduled meal service as part of an organized program for enrolled children. The camp must provide a continuous schedule of organized cultural or recreational programs for enrolled children between meal services. With state agency approval, a day camp may claim reimbursement for serving up to 3 meals to eligible children each day. Camps are reimbursed only for meals served to children who are determined to be eligible for free or reduced price meals. A day camp may charge non-eligible children a separate fee for meals. A day camp cannot use area eligible data to establish site eligibility. The sponsor must establish each individual child's eligibility for free or reduced price meals. In residential camps, children spend the duration of the organized program in a 24-hour supervised care setting and receive regularly scheduled meal services. A residential camp site provides meals as part of an organized program for enrolled children. With state agency approval, a residential camp may claim reimbursement for serving up to 3 meals to eligible children each day. Camps are reimbursed only for meals served to children who are determined to be eligible for free or reduced price meals. Residential camps may charge non-eligible children a separate fee for meals. Residential camps cannot use area eligibility data to establish site eligibility. The sponsor must establish each child individually for free and reduced price meals. A migrant site provides meals to children of migrant workers. A migrant site operates like an area eligible open or restricted open site and receives reimbursement for meals served to all children attending the site. With state agency approval, a migrant site may claim reimbursement for serving up to 3 meals to each participating child each day. A conditional non-congregate site qualifies for participation because it conducts a non-congregate meal service for children in rural areas who are eligible for free or reduced price meals, but it is not located in an area in which poor economic conditions exist. And it's not eligible as a camp either. And I will talk more about non-congregate meal service in a few slides. But for conditional non-congregate, The sponsor must document that the site is rural and must also document the number of enrolled children who are eligible for free or reduced price meals and certify that it will collect information to determine each child's eligibility to support the claim. A conditional non-congregate site may receive reimbursement only for meals served to enrolled children who meet the eligibility standards for free or reduced price meals. Non-congregate meals may be served to children who are not eligible for free or reduced price meals in rural areas, but they may not be claimed for reimbursement. So now we will talk about how a school can document that they are eligible to operate SFSP or SSO. And like I said earlier, both programs have similar, if not identical, ways to qualify to operate. So to make it a little easier for a school to determine if they are eligible to operate SSO or SFSP, our office has two different documents that can be referenced. So one being the 50% list, which uses data from October 2024 NSLP claim for reimbursement. And if your school is on this list and you do apply for SSO or SFSP, you will need to submit the area eligibility notification letter as backup that the site is eligible. And this letter was sent out to the district last month to everybody that was on that 50% list. And a new document that was sent out this year was the FY25 census eligibility spreadsheet. And this is an awesome spreadsheet that was put together by Bridget in our office. And this will inform you if your school is census eligible or eligible based on a weighted average. If your school is on this list, there may be some additional documentation required when applying for either program. But again, this will be dealt with on a case-by-case basis, and we'll make sure to communicate this with you throughout the application process. And just to reiterate that again, both the 50% lists and the census eligibility spreadsheet were sent out in February. So if you are unsure if your school or your district got one, just please reach out to me. And a school can also qualify based on attendance area. So for example, if a high school with less than 50% free or reduced enrollment is located in an attendance area of a middle school where 50% or more of the enrolled children are eligible for free or reduced, the high school would then be area eligible. And USDA also has a tool called the Area Eligibility Mapper, where if you type in your address of the school or your site, it will show if the site is area eligible, so eligible to operate SSO or SFSP. But that the census eligibility spreadsheet, it will capture if that school would be on that mapper. And I did just want to add that anybody interested in participating in SFSP, they must attend an in-person training that's happening on April 2nd, and that's going to be at our office in Concord. And again, any questions about that training or anything that we've covered thus far, just reach out to me or anybody else in our office. So once a site establishes area eligibility that is valid for 5 years, so as an example, if you were to qualify this year, summer 2025, you would then qualify all the way to summer 2029. That's only if you do operate that program this year. So let's say you operate it in summer 2025, you don't operate it in 2026, but you want to operate it in 2027, you'll only be eligible to operate it in 2027 if you reestablish eligibility that year. So hopefully that makes sense. So it does need to be a continuous participation in either program to keep that eligibility, unless of course you are once again eligible that year. So the next question to ask is, does my school or district qualify to serve non-congregate meals? So a non-congregate meal service means a food service at which meals are provided for children to consume all of the components off-site. Non-congregate meal service must only be operated at sites designated as rural with no congregate meal service. So to determine if a site is rural and eligible to operate a non-congregate meal service, the site will need to check the USDA rural designation mapper. So here's a picture of what that mapper would look like. So if the site again is determined to be rural by this mapper, then you may operate a non-congregate meal service. So districts and sponsors may use the FNS Rural Designation Mapper, which I will have linked at the end of this presentation when we send the slides out. And if you would like, all you have to do is type in your address in the mapper. And if it's shaded green, then that means that it's designated as rural. And again, that FY25 census eligibility spreadsheet that was sent out, that will also capture if your site is rural. So now we can kind of get into if there is any difference in the reimbursement rates between the three programs that we've mentioned. So here you can see the reimbursement rates for SFSP versus SSO and ESY. And the SSO meals would be claimed at the NSLP free rate. And I circled the free SFSP lunch rate and the NSLP free lunch rate just so you can see the difference in there. It's almost a whole $1, so it's a pretty big difference when it will add up. And so what are the different meal patterns requirements among the programs? SFSP sites must follow the SFSP meal pattern, but they may substitute the NSLP or SBP meal pattern. The SFSP meal pattern is a bit more flexible than the NSLP meal pattern. For SSO and ESY, these sites must follow the NSLP and SBP meal pattern. SFSP and SSO sites can serve up to 2 meal types per day at each site in any combination other than supper and lunch on the same day. ESY and SLP can serve breakfast, lunch, and after-school snack. So now we'll get into the application process for each program and as well as any deadlines. All program applications should be submitted to this by the state agency deadline of May 15th. And applications must be submitted no later than June 15th, which is the federal due date. If the application is not submitted by June 15th, the site will be unable to operate a summer feeding program. And just to reiterate for SFSP, that in-person training is mandatory to apply. So what's next? You'll want to decide which program the site will and is eligible to operate. And then you'll request a paper application from our office. The paper application will just be for SSO and ESY. SFSP is done through My NHDOE, similar to the NSLP application process. And as a reminder, for all summer feeding programs, the SAU or the district must have the summer program they will be operating in their food service management company contract before the application is approved. And you can contact Amy McGregor in our office with any questions about adding that to your FSMC contract. And I have linked some resources at the end of this presentation that you can receive once these slides get sent out. And then I will stay on for a few questions if there are any. Any SFSP questions can be directed at Bridget, and then I can take any SSO or ESY questions.